Hey folks, I'm back, and I think this is like five or six of these that I've done today, but I've saved the best for last. Well, I'd probably say that about anybody who was last. No, but I do love Erick Gelhaus. I love all of our TACCON trainers. They're so wonderful. But Erick was kind enough not only to do one of these videos, but also to tweak his schedule to accommodate mine. So thank you, Erick, because I know you've got a ton of stuff going on and you're 2 hours different from me and all of that jazz. So I really appreciate it. For folks who don't already know how awesome you are, please introduce yourself to TACCON.
Well, I don't know about the awesome part, but for the intro, got a bunch of things. Like a lot of the folks in the business, I did the law enforcement thing and the military thing. Took the advantage of my GI Bill and got my bachelor's, then went on to grad school. Most of my stuff in grad school was on use of force, either training or evaluating. So I kind of bring the nerd science side to that. Started teaching down at Gunsight in 2000, so I've kind of got that in the background, and then I have my own company, Cougar Mountain Solutions. That's the thumbnail sketch, right?
Excellent.
I got out of being the hardest working dude at TACCON this year. I'm not sure how, or I just didn't pitch enough classes. Um,
You're still pretty far up there, though. I think Tim Kelly might have beat you out this year, but every year for
Yay!
the for those who don't know, every year Gail House is known for like pitching the most classes, and Tom usually accepts them all because they're all amazing. Gail House, Chuck Haggard does that a lot. They're the ones who end up teaching like five or six classes, but Tim Kelly is another one. So you guys are just chomping at the bit. I love it, love it, love it. So let's talk about what you're doing this year. You mentioned your celebrated nerddom, so
Yeah.
we will start there. You
So
and
there'll be
fel you and fellow nerds, John Hearn and Lee Weems are talking about your favorite studies, and we heard about that a little bit from Lee, and we'll hear from John a little bit. But if you want to touch on that a little before we go to
yeah,
your other
I'm going to
class.
be looking at some decision making stuff and kind of where stress plays into it, and how that impacts the decisions we make. And then the thing that John Lee and I all try to do is most of the stuff gets done on the cop world, and we're trying to turn around and make it applicable for decent normal humans, right?
Mhm.
Um, Trying to extrapolate the stuff that applies to everybody, right? Not just because you're wearing a badge.
And
So
thank you for that, by the way, because that's a huge service to average everyday Earth people who are walking around and don't necessarily have the same rules of engagement as the folks on whom a lot of the high quality studies are done. So thanks for those translations. You're also reprising one of your classes from last year on ready positions. This is a classroom block. Tell us what that's going to entail.
I know I'm doing it at least once, and that's going to be Sunday afternoon. So ready positions and better outcome is focused on the visual information you're getting during an event, how that matches up with what you're seeing, what you're expecting to see, what you're processing. And again, it's all research that's been done on law enforcement and the military, but trying to make it applicable to everybody, and how that research has evolved over time, right? So the more visual information we get, the more better decision making we can get, and also some of the stuff that goes with decision making under stress and skills capability. So specifically looking at some work from some guys in the Navy on decision making and stress, and how even their stuff evolved over time, from your shooting skill doesn't matter to wait, hold on, yeah, it does. Your shooting skill really does matter on your decision making side. We just didn't know it. So we'll take all that, run that again, and I probably wouldn't have run it had I not seen how many first time attendees we had.
Mhm.
But with it somewhere between 40 and 50, I figured I'll run that one more time, and then we'll pull it out of the rotation and go on to something else.
And before we move on from that, on that note, for folks who maybe don't know, but are too shy to ask, or for people who think they know and might be surprised to learn that their definition is mistaken, what is your definition of ready position?
That is a position where you're prepared to respond to a problem. It does not mean that that muzzle is on meat, right? We're not pointing guns at people and making decisions where we have a gun in hand and it might be in the direction of somebody, but it's not covering them.
Awesome. Thank you. Just wanted to put that out there.
Fair enough.
Okay. And last, but certainly not least, you are bringing a new class to TACCON this year, a live fire block
Mm-hmm.
called PMO applications or pistol mounted optic applications. What can folks expect there?
So Unfortunately, some of the guys from the performance side of things aren't going to be at TACCON this year. So, or at least historically, they've done the performance side. So I'm going to kind of try to step in that void a little bit. Probably the easiest way to describe it is a phrase that Pat McNamara used several years ago, which was tactical application of practical shooting, right? Trying to take some of the performance, some of the sport oriented stuff, if you will, and apply it to how we deal with lethal force confrontations. So working on the dot in an environment that's not just static on a line, right, but it involves movement into and out of positions. It involves movement to a better position, and working a shooting problem from there. And that will be both on paper and steel. The idea is to kind of get that one going fairly quickly, pun intended, because I only have a 2 hour block when I run that one. Run those.
Nice. And is this the class for somebody who's used to irons and now testing a dot for the first time, or
No, I
is
would say
these?
if you've got a dot, if you're used to working with a dot, come take the class. If you've never had a dot in hand before, or you're still really new trying to figure out how to get the dot on target, come and watch,
Mhm.
because there'll be stuff for you as you get longer down the road, and we'll talk about some things. But if you're still working on getting the dot consistently, this might not be the block for you.
And you might also instead consider taking Intro to PMO from Wayne Dobbs. Just a little shameless plug.
I didn't know who was teaching what, but yes,
Yep, we
absolutely
we
take it from Wayne.
deliberately scheduled those classes so that they do not conflict with one another, so folks can either take one or the other or both, depending on their skill level or how much dot work they want to do at TACCON. So fantastic. All right, my
Wayne,
friend, thank you so much. And I can't wait to see these classes. They all sound amazing as usual. And I can't wait to see you and give you a hug in Dallas. Thank you.
no, I actually get to see you like in a week and a half or 2 weeks in Camden.
Yes. Oh, cool. Okay, that's right. Hearn did tell me you were going to be there. Fantastic. All right. So I'll see you next weekend.
Tiffany, thank you very much. Look forward to seeing everybody.
Bye.